Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Wake Up Mission Show with your host, Shalene Nightingale and Randy Dees.
Where is the revolution? Where is our solution? The time to wake up is here and now. Time for a revolution.
Today's show is in honor of fallen soldier LaVoy Finicum and to all patriots who defend liberty. We thank you all. A moment of silence, and then we will resume. When I hear bagpipes, it reminds me of Scotland. And when I think of Scotland, I think of Braveheart. Freedom! Freedom is what each and every single one of us, regardless of political affiliation, religious belief, or ideology, we all want the same: freedom. And without the rights that the Constitution blessed us with acknowledging and confirming, we are restricted with our liberty, which brings forth oppression. You know, it's a Greek philosopher, and I'm blanking on the name at this moment, but a philosopher basically stated that when a society becomes immoral and when a government grows too big, when they themselves are immoral and hiding secrets, they have to create more legislation to hide their secret, immoral battle against the people. Now, it's not really exactly what he said, but it's the meaning behind it. The Founding Fathers knew this. So did LaVoy Finicum. Today on our show, we are joined by another great patriot whom we love. He's been on the show before. You all know him, Andrew Duncombe. Andrew, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you guys for having me back again.
Absolutely. And this is going to really be all three of us. This is the Wake Up Mission Show. In case you're just turning in, we are all about God, truth, and music. We are fired up and ready to go for sure today, but we are going to do so commercial-free. It will be commercial-free today. We did, just for the record, we did reach out to members of the Finicum family the Hamids. We didn't hear anything back from anyone. We can only imagine what they're enduring. It's not that I don't think they want to be on a Patriot show. I want to make sure that that's clear. Arrest and lawsuits and grieving a death. I know too today we have a lot of people that don't agree with our politics listening. We had a lot of trolls today on our Twitter account, didn't we, Randy? And so we know that there's a lot of people out there who unfortunately have bought into the controlled media propaganda that LaVoy Finicum was some dangerous, right-wing nut who was a criminal and breaking a ton of laws, and he had this justice coming to him.
Right, and they
I've
don't.
seen it.
But they don't mention anything about what's actually behind all this with mineral rights and backdoor deals with politicians selling our land to foreign entities.
Right, exactly, and we're going to get through that. We're going to go through all of that today. We're going to go through the entire history. We've got Andrew here today on our panel, and for those who may not know, for any new listeners, Andrew's a friend of our show. Andrew Duncombe is a brave patriot himself. He's a black cowboy, and I say that with much love and respect, who was out there defending the Confederate flag and got a ton of flack from members of the black community, in addition to what we call, libtards.
Regardless trolls.
Yeah, exactly, trolls, regardless of color. And so
he's had
he's
death
got a lot
threats,
to
actually.
say.
I've had about 300 death threats last week over this whole thing.
300 death threats.
More than that. That's just an estimated number. I was getting about 40 hate messages an hour.
Jesus Christ, Andrew.
So, yeah, it really sparked up last week.
Because of your support of LaVoy. It's really interesting, Andrew, because I've had death threats before too, and I believe Randy has too. But I'll tell you why you are getting more, because you to them you're a traitor.
Yeah,
you're a traitor because of your skin color. Because see, this is how the radicals think. They think that if you're a minority, you're automatically on their side of politics, on their side of a belief system, that you're automatically, some socialist that hates America. And when you stand up and they find out, oh my gosh, you break their whole way of thinking, and they can't understand how you could break that matrix and not be a slave to the system.
Exactly. And the main thing that I've seen was the word coon used multiple times, and someone had the definition of coon, basically can't openly understand nothing. And so when you after what you just said, it kind
Amazing.
of it
Amazing.
basically.
Amazing. So the three of us have a lot to say. Me as a female, I'm considered a minority in some circles, and I've had many, because I used to be, for the record, a libtard. I've shared my history on the show before. And so because I was in that circle, years and years ago, I know the way they talk. I know the talking points, so they really hate me too. How dare you? A female who was one of us, and now she's not. She's a traitor. And then, of course, you've got Randy with his long hair and tattoos. Doesn't really fit the conservative mold that they think about. And Andrew. So I think the three of us on this panel today, I bet the SPLC is taking notes.
Hey, we're the Mod Squad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I used to love that show, the Mod Squad, Peggy Lipton and such. But anyway, we're kind of digressing. So a little back history. We're going to play here shortly. It's a long audio clip, but it's got to be played. So we're going to go into just the history after we play it. But for those who are, awake or paying attention, who may not even be awake, but they think they are, LaVoy Finicum was shot and killed, and we'll use those terms for right now, by FBI agents. Now, a lot of there's people in this country who believe that was justified, and then there's people who are actually, awake and aware and don't buy into the propaganda on controlled media, who are outraged, and so they should be. This was after a long standing of defending property in Oregon, and we'll get into those details in a bit. After he was shot, the FBI released a video with no audio. This is really key. It had no audio to it, and it was an aerial shot of the incident. Now, you take out the audio and you have an aerial shot, it's got a completely different narrative. If you looked at this video that was released by the FBI, what was it, gentlemen, a month or two ago, right? It was in January, I believe, the end of January.
January 26th. It was a day before my birthday. I was in Arizona at the time.
Oh, wow, what a great birthday present, right?
Yeah, no, not really.
Oh, my goodness. So they released this video after they shot LaVoy. And I immediately, and I'm on record, social media, I wasn't on the show, back on the show yet, but on social media, I was on there. And I have it written. And I said, something's not adding up here. Something's wrong here. Either this was a staged incident here, because this isn't making sense to me. Because if you watch the FBI, again, no audio, aerial shot only, it looked like LaVoy just was crazily just parked in the middle of a road surrounded by snow, just sitting there, while the FBI and whoever else they were trying to get him, I don't know, to do what, who knows, because, again, there was no audio, and it looked like he was just being rebellious, not getting out, not doing anything. Then all of a sudden, you see his vehicle, which was white, kind of blended in with the snow, but all of a sudden he just takes off. So again, without audio and just an aerial shot and not knowing what's really going on here, you're thinking, well, first he was rebellious and now he's trying to get away like a fugitive, kind of like O.J. Simpson down the freeways all those years ago. He's just trying to run away. That's what it kind of is. That's what their narrative. That was what they wanted you to think. Then you see this. I don't know, a couple of miles or whatever it was down the road, and you see this barricade. And LaVoy goes into the snowbank, and you're thinking, oh, my gosh, he is trying to go around the barricade and get away. And instead he ended up in a snowbank and was forced to get out of the vehicle. And then it looks like this narrative that he's trying to reach for a gun to shoot the agents. This is what their narrative, this is what they wanted you to think. Well, there were other people in this vehicle with LaVoy. And one of the individuals had their mobile phone on, recording the entire incident from the inside of the vehicle. Now, some of the questions I had was, why was he just sitting in the road? Why did he go into the embankment? I don't think he was reaching for a gun. I mean, these were just some of the things that I personally said and questioned. Take a listen to this. Again, it's very long, but I think it's important that people listen to it. Here's what really happened that day. Take a listen.
Shoot me, you shoot me. I'm going to meet the sheriff. The sheriff is waiting for us. So you do as you damn well please. But I'm not going anywhere. Here I am, right there. Right there, put a bullet through it. You understand? I'm going to go meet the sheriff. You back down or you kill me now. Go ahead. Put the bullet through me. I don't care.
Where's Ryan?
I'm going to go meet the sheriff. You do as you damn well please.
What for?
Well, I'm going to ask them if they want to go out.
What for? Why are we getting
You want out?
What for? What are we getting out?
Who are you? Yeah, who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Oregon State Police.
Okay, well, I'm going over to meet the sheriff in Grant County. You can come along with us, and you can talk with us over there. You can go ahead and shoot me. You put the laser right there, put the bullet through the head. Okay, boys, this is going to get real. You want my blood on your hands? Get it done, because we got people to see and places to go. No, I don't.
You need to back off.
You need to back off.
Where in the heck is Ammon?
You shouldn't have ever stopped.
Did Ammon?
You're wasting oxygen, son.
Where they got?
What? Oh, did they have Ryan? Did they arrest him?
You shouldn't have got out.
He shouldn't have got out.
I'm not turning over. I'm going into Day County. I'm going into Grant County to see the sheriff.
Well, if we duck and you drive, what are they going to do? Try to knock us out? How much further we got to go?
Shoot your tires.
We got about 50 miles.
Okay.
Tell them to approach the vehicle.
Okay.
And Ryan's talking to him, right?
Okay.
Is he talking to him?
I can't tell.
I can't even see him except the guy behind the door that's got his gun on us. Say we have kids in here.
We hold each other.
Okay, who can we call?
I don't have seven.
I probably do.
I call.
Here, turn that down.
Where's my phone?
Hey, boys, you better realize we got people on the way. You want a bloodbath? It's going to be on your hands. We're going to go see the sheriff.
Call Joseph Rice.
Better understand how this thing's going to end.
What's the number?
I'm going to be laying down here on the ground with my blood on the street, or I'm going to go see the sheriff.
You don't have any?
We got people en route.
Yes, we do. Hold this.
You're wasting your oxygen.
Hold this camera. Listen. Great. Okay. Take pictures. Keep an eye on him. All right. Keep an eye on LaVoy.
Can you take pictures and still have it recording?
Recording
okay,
now.
cool.
Okay. No.
Okay, what's his number?
I'm looking. Just a minute.
You need to back down.
We don't have any service. We have no service here.
Start calling people. They did it because there's no service here.
Yeah, they got it.
They know it. There's no service here at all.
You should never have stopped. You should never have stopped.
I'm going to keep going.
Then we have to duck.
I know.
What are they going to do with Ryan?
Okay.
If we take
Then
off,
you
where
get
they
Ryan
shoot,
back.
Shoot your tires out.
Well,
Most likely.
hey, Ryan Ammon.
Why did they pull you over?
Go get help.
There's no service here.
Just because.
Okay, you ready?
Well, where's the
They
gun?
got him stopped. He can't get around him. I'm going to go. You guys ready?
Okay, get down.
Then you duck
Get
down.
down.
Give me that camera. Okay, give me this camera. Go. Got it.
Are they shooting?
Got it. Keep going.
Okay, what about Ammon and those guys?
We can't get around him. I'm going to go get help.
Okay.
Stay down. Stay down.
I need
Stay
to
down.
so I can call as soon as I get service.
Wait up. Yeah, keep watching the phone. See if you get any service.
I don't have my
I can't even get Joe right.
Coming up fast.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, I don't know about numbers.
Well, I got numbers, but I can't call because we have no service.
Okay.
No, mobile network not available.
Do you have numbers for people here in town?
Yeah, but... Hang on.
Okay, they're shooting.
Hang on.
Okay, let's get down. Okay, let's hear.
Go ahead and shoot me.
Damn! Trying to. Stay down. Stay down. Stay down. Stay down. Stay down. Damn it. Are they shooting him? Did I shoot him? You asshole. Oh my God! Hold still. Hold still. Stay down.
I can't
Is
get
he
out.
dead?
Don't get out.
I'm EMT!
Stop it.
Are you hit?
No, I'm EMT!
No, hold on. Hold on. Don't do it. Hey, no shooting. Don't do anything. The door's shut. Where the hell is LaVoy? Damn.
I can't see.
Shut up. Stay down, Ryan.
Oh, God!
Ryan, stay down. Stay down. Oh, shit.
I think they just
Keep down.
killed the boy.
Did they kill him?
I think they did, and they're shooting over here on this door.
I got hit too.
Okay, hold still.
Where did you
I
get
don't
hit?
know. It didn't.
Hold still, hold still.
It's not
Ryan, where did you get
Hold
hit?
still.
I'm not bleeding.
Okay, don't shoot
Where
us.
did you get hit, Ryan?
I'm okay. It's on
Okay,
the
I'm
shoulder.
going to take some.
It's okay.
I'm taking some. Keep down. Oh, shit. Well, I don't get out of the car. How are we supposed to get out of the car?
Did they tell us to get out of the car?
No, I can't hear anything. I don't dare get out of the car. Oh, shit. Quit shooting the windows.
Where are they shooting at?
They're hitting the windows. I don't know. They're trying to break their window.
God, keep us safe, please.
Please, please protect us,
Please,
God.
God. God.
Please protect us. Please protect us. Please protect us. We need help. We need help. We need help.
Did they kill him? They killed
Oh, I
him.
can see a laser coming in.
They killed. Oh my God, they killed him.
Okay. So where's the rest of everyone?
Are you okay?
Oh, yeah,
I can see lasers going by.
Where did you get hit?
I'm okay.
He's got lasers.
got a laser.
Keep your head down. I can see the laser. If you see a laser, keep it away from us. It's on your knee. Stop! I don't dare get out because they'll shoot me.
I know.
Okay.
I don't like hunkering down here either.
Me either, but I don't know what to do because
I don't know.
they keep shooting lasers at us.
Get too stinking lax. Think things are just all dandy and fine. We got too damn lax.
Yeah. Damn, why do they keep shooting?
I'm trying to take my head off. I was looking through.
I don't know, but all of us? Stop! 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 Please! Stop! Yes. Stop! That's ridiculous. Because you're stupid. They can kill all of us? Father, please. Protect.
Those were gas rounds.
Yeah, they're good wherever your nose sticks. Do we get out? Do we get out?
No, don't get out.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Okay. Okay.
God.
Okay.
God. Please keep
Okay,
us safe.
Okay, they got lasers still on us.
we got lasers still on us. LaVoy got out. I think they've killed LaVoy. They just shot gas rounds into the car. We're hunkered down in here trying not to get shot.
He's shooting. That's what he's shooting at.
Shooting more gas rounds. The gas is getting pretty thick in here.
God,
Please.
Anyway,
do you dare get out? I don't dare get out. Will they shoot me?
yeah, they'll shoot you.
How am I gonna get out? If I get...
Anyway,
Can we put a white flag out?
Yeah, I would put a flag out. Let's put a flag out.
Do we have a white flag? Yep.
I'm not sure what they got. What you got?
There's a laser shooting right over here around this.
Okay. The gas dissipates.
He's trying to break this window. He's trying to break the window in that.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything white? Does he
I
have
don't
a
know.
wiper on?
I kick a shirt off. He's a laser trying to shoot this window. He's got this window open here.
Speak to people. Anyway, they ambushed us on the way to John Day. And now they're shooting into our vehicle. And we're hunkered down. We do not have phone service at this location.
I surrender! Can we just surrender?
Okay, open the left door. Let's get out.
Okay!
That's you, Ryan. I don't know if you can get up. You get out first. Let her in first. Let her out first. You go first. You go first.
Please don't shoot me!
Okay, go.
Okay, I get it. I get it now.
Okay, get out.
Okay!
No, shoot Ryan first. Well, shoot you first, Ryan. How's that? How's that?
LaVoy's dead.
Shit. Okay. Okay, go. Okay, hands up. Okay, go. Let him see Joe. Still.
You said it
Okay.
wait, I can't go yet.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Hold on, sis. Hang on. I know I'm slow. Okay. Okay. I still got my camera on for a minute. Okay, you ready? I'm sorry, but if you listen to that audio and it doesn't tug at your heartstrings, I don't care what side your politics is, you don't have a heart. Period. On the end that you're hearing that's getting out of the car, that they're yelling and barking orders at, was a minor under the age of 18. They shot and killed LaVoy cold blood. So because you can't see it, because I'm telling you, the audio is bad enough, but the visual is even worse. In the visual, you see the blood splattering. He's still right by the vehicle. You see the blood splattering everywhere. In my entire life, I've never seen somebody get murdered like that. And so here's the deal. For those of you who think you know what happened that day, LaVoy and those that were in the vehicle, and there were some other people in another vehicle on their way to meet the sheriff. It was a scheduled meeting with the local sheriff. A scheduled meeting. They weren't trying to get away. They were going to the sheriff. They had agreed to talk. Settle this matter. They wanted to settle this matter.
They
were
trying
on their way to the sheriff.
What they were trying to do was to establish a common law grand jury in that county to make a definitive ruling. And the people that shot LaVoy knew that, and the de facto corporation that is the United States government can't have a common law grand jury anymore.
Right. We're gonna get into more details on that as well. But that day, that was where they were headed. What you can't see, obviously, in audio, they stopped. They were going down this snowy road. All of a sudden, helicopters are over their head. There's all these vehicles that swarm behind them. So they stopped. That's what they did. They stopped. There was some, right before she turned on her cell phone, there was already some activity. So what you hear, I know a lot of people have said, don't share our politics, that seem to love big government. I don't understand those people, frankly. I just love the big government because they're going to give me free things. So I'm going to love them. Don't like the corporations, don't like Wall Street, but I just love big government. There's no such thing as a police state. I don't know, Stalin anyone, Hitler anyone, Cuba anyone doesn't exist? You don't think it's going to happen to the United States? It's already happening.
Yep.
But you just go on trusting that big government because they're not going to do anything to you. Well, one day when they come calling on your door, knocking, don't be calling Andrew, Randy, or I, because we're not going to help you.
Well, you remember what Art Olivier said?
What?
Well, just because you take no interest in politics, that does not mean that politics will not take an interest in you.
Okay, there you go. And just because you love big government, don't think big government loves you. They're applauding the fact that you have that slave mentality. They love the fact that they have you fooled. Because as long as you're fooled, you're not going to rise up against them.
Right.
They love that you're rising up against Wall Street. They're laughing. They're taking money from Wall Street. Wall Street's funding the government.
Yeah. Well, look what Stalin did when he came into power. All the people that helped him, like during World War II, all his buddies, right? They all ended up dead.
Yeah. Same thing with Hitler's rise to power. And also each of those dictators, guess what? Corporations, big business, the world elite with money helped each and every single one of them. The Bilderbergs, the CFR, the Trilateral Commission. You've got the Rockefellers, George Soros, the Rothschilds, all these people with tons of money. Guess what they're doing? Democrats, Republicans, they're all coming together. The CFR, as a matter of fact, is a perfect example, as is the Bilderbergs, because both are secret groups that meet in secret that are a membership of politicians from Democrat and Republican Party, corporation heads. You can go look on this on the internet. If you don't believe us, go Google, because Google actually, by the way, is one of the corporations that attends these meetings. You've got Wall Street and politicians working together behind closed doors, big money behind closed doors, talking about all of you. They're friends. They're allies. They just want you to think that they're not, so that they can fool you, so you'll just keep doing their bidding, so that you'll look the other way and think, oh, LaVoy and the company, well, they were just a bunch of criminals. And I've heard a lot of people say, because of LaVoy said, he says, go ahead and shoot me. So, oh, he was asking for it. Let me tell you something. I've had a gun pulled on me before, years ago. Some crazy lunatic on drugs that was, I lived in a neighborhood at the time. No, I wasn't part of the elite. I lived in an apartment. It just happened to be in a fairly upper middle class neighborhood. When I first moved to LA, most people work in the entertainment industry, the B level. There was no celebrities or anything. It was like the crew. So it wasn't a super rich neighborhood, but it was a safe neighborhood, and that's why I lived there in this apartment building. And this individual was there with their cohorts stealing out of houses, and I just happened to be coming home late at night from a job, waiting tables, working hard to just get some tips to pay my bills. And so you have no idea. I just happened to come home at the wrong time. And they saw me, and a gun was pulled on me just a couple of feet. The gun pointed at my stomach. I heard it cocked and loaded. Let me tell you, you don't know what you're going to say or do until a gun is pointed on you. And in this particular case, they were being terrorized. I think what LaVoy thought, because especially when you're a man, I think you think, you know what, if I challenge you, you're going to think about what you're doing, and you're not going to shoot me. Because what he was saying to them is, look, I'm on the way to meet the sheriff. We want to talk about this. Don't stop us. Don't prevent us from settling this matter. He was agitated, and rightfully so. He was scared. And if you don't think firing shots at unarmed individuals in a car with a minor and women is not terrorizing, then there's no hope for you. And may this never happen to you. But of course, you won't stand up to the government yourself because you like all the free handouts. There's nothing more that can be said about this. They were being terrorized. So yes, did they drive? They didn't know what to do. They were like, "Oh my God, you could hear them. What do we do? I mean, we're on our way to the sheriff's. What don't they understand? Why are they doing this to us?" They had this plan. This was an ambush. An ambush. They knew somehow because they were spying. Remember, there were reports, as Andrew and Randy, you both know, reports of FBI agents undercover pretending to be patriots that got inside information.
Right.
I guarantee somehow they were wired inside of there. No doubt in my mind. Somehow they found out, because I don't believe, because I've been watching this sheriff, I don't believe this sheriff, I don't believe that he would have told them unless he was coerced to. I don't know. But somehow they found out about this meeting, and this was an ambush. So before we get into more of the history, I just want to quickly play. After this video was released yesterday, and you could see the truth, the real narrative of what happened that day, and also when LaVoy Finicum was getting out of the vehicle, they just shot him. He didn't have any gun in his hand. He came out with his hands up in the air, which you clearly see when he gets out of the vehicle. He was not with a handgun or anything in his hand. Period. And people tried to say because of that aerial shot, oh, he was reaching for a gun, and then they shot him. No. He had his hands up. What about the Black Lives Matter? Hands up, don't shoot. Hey, in fact, Andrew, what do you have to say about that? The Black Lives Matter. Remember, it was hands up, don't shoot.
Yeah, it was hands up, don't shoot for their motto. The longest time people were wearing shirts for it. And again, it's like the Black Lives Matter even turned against saying, oh, he was a thug, or saying that, oh, if he was black, then he would have, no one would have cared about the matter. I was shocked when I saw the second footage. I heard about Shauna Cox having a cell phone video of it. Wasn't sure when they're going to release it, but when I watched that video, I was just shocked, even more so than I watched the first.
Yeah, I know. I cried yesterday. I was crying actually just now too. I was so disturbed. I was crying so much. My oldest son, he didn't watch it. He wasn't with me. He heard me and he came in and he said, "Mom, what's wrong?" And he held me. I mean, the audio is horrific, but watching it's even worse, because then you think there's so much that goes through your mind, like, oh my God, I can't believe my own government can do this to me. And by the way, it is a right. The founding fathers didn't say bow down to your masters. They said question them, question authority, and stand up to tyranny. So
Exactly.
LaVoy Company did the right thing.
Thomas Jefferson even said, God forbid we should ever go 20 years without such a rebellion. What country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms.
And yet we've come so far because of propaganda, lies, the changing of history in America and the education system, or should we say indoctrination system. People don't even realize all of this. Oh, the founders were racist. What? That narrative, you've been indoctrinated into what they want you to think, so that you won't pay attention to the founding fathers, because then you would realize just exactly who they really were. They weren't racist. Slavery was part of the custom. I mean, it's an unfortunate part of the custom, but it was just part of the custom in that day. And just for the record, and this is a whole other topic, but black slaves were not the first slaves in this country. It's a whole other subject, a whole other matter, but they weren't racist. I don't know how many rumors of Thomas Jefferson had an affair and really loved his slave. Yes, Andrew.
And the first recorded slave owner in history was Anthony Johnson, who was a black. And so when people talk about we started out as a racist nation, there were lots of black slave owners back then. And
Yeah.
you don't hear about that in history. You don't see that in a history book. It's
or the
all
Irish.
the media. And the Irish, yes, exactly. No one ever talks about what happened to the Irish or even the Chinese, even after the African, or even after the blacks were set free.
Yeah, the Chinese were using slave labor to build the railroads.
Exactly.
Well, the reason why they do that, gentlemen, is so that people will, in their minds, get a different opinion of them so that they won't, that the founding fathers don't matter to them. Because if the founding fathers don't matter to them, they won't do their reading. They won't do their research to find out exactly what the founding fathers said. They don't want people to know. They want people to stay dumbed down and enslaved so that they can continue their agenda, which is a global elite agenda, in their own words. David Rockefeller, in his own words, said, I want to thank the media. He said this at his Trilateral Commission. He founded the Trilateral Commission. And he says to all the people in attendance, which is included media, I just want to thank the media for helping us with our secret agenda. Because without you, we wouldn't have advanced this far of our one world agenda. They don't want you to know any of this. So, LaVoy, back to LaVoy, they were on their way to meet the sheriff. And now that this mobile phone video has been released, now there's some people that have to answer to some things. Here is the sheriff. I think it's the sheriff who speaks first here. This was a press conference yesterday. Take a listen.
As a part of the major incident team investigation, Oregon State Police Crime Lab forensic scientists examined the truck driven by Mr. Finicum and found 4 distinct bullet holes, 3 of which we have already gone over with you. To refer you to this diagram, these are the 3 prior shots that we had discussed. This is the 4th shot that they found into the roof of the truck. In the early stages of the investigation, we could not explain the 4th shot into the roof of the truck or its trajectory, given the placement of the Oregon State Police troopers at the time. We had conclusive evidence that the Oregon State Police troopers fired 6 shots, the 3 that hit the truck and the 3 that hit Mr. Finicum. During the course of our investigation, we discovered evidence that an FBI HRT operator fired 2 shots as Mr. Finicum exited the truck, and 1 shot hit the truck. The footage from Ms. Cox's camera confirms this. Neither of these 2 shots fired by FBI HRT operators struck Mr. Finicum. The HRT operators were interviewed on the evening of January 26th and again on February 5th and 6th during the investigation by the major incident team. Of particular concern to all of us is that the FBI HRT operators did not disclose their shots to our investigators, nor did they disclose specific actions they took after the shooting. The failure by HRT operators to disclose that they fired shots during this contact and actions they took after the shooting are the subject of an ongoing investigation by both the Deschutes County Sheriff's Office and the Inspector General of the United States Department of Justice. The Inspector General is a separate department of the Department of Justice, responsible for investigating misconduct by Department of Justice personnel.
I want to be clear where the process goes from here. The investigation remains open and in the hands of the Deschutes County Sheriff's Office. The Inspector General of the U.S. Department of Justice is now also investigating. We deserve to know that our law enforcement officers at the local, state, and federal level act appropriately within the scope of the law. We know without a doubt that the Oregon State Police troopers who shot Mr. Finicum did so as they moved to protect themselves and their fellow officers from imminent harm. Mr. Finicum repeatedly and knowingly made choices that put him, Robert LaVoy Finicum, in this situation. It was not the outcome that any of us wanted, but one that he alone is responsible for. As you have heard today, the investigation conducted by the Tri-County Major Incident Team determined that OSP troopers fired 3 shots at Mr. Finicum's vehicle as it approached the law enforcement barricade at a high rate of speed. The vehicle nearly hit a law enforcement officer. The team also determined OSP troopers fired 3 additional shots that struck and killed Mr. Finicum as he reached for his weapon after exiting his vehicle. The county investigation further indicates that in between the 2 series of shots fired by OSP troopers, 1 and possibly 2 additional shots were fired by law enforcement as Mr. Finicum was exiting his vehicle immediately after hitting the building. As autopsy results confirm, neither of these shots struck Mr. Finicum. The question of who fired these shots has not been resolved. Upon learning this, and given the presence of FBI agents on scene, I immediately contacted our inspection division, which in turn notified the United States Department of Justice, Office of Inspector General, which is currently investigating the matter. Because this is an ongoing investigation, it would be inappropriate for me or anyone else to speculate or comment further. But I can assure you, the FBI is cooperating fully with the Office of Inspector General.
So the second person that was talking, the one that said basically that LaVoy had it coming, and I believe is the district attorney there, because the officers were defending their lives. Again, LaVoy Finicum came out of the vehicle. He did not have a gun in his hand. You clearly heard the audio, the video. You heard the audio. They just immediately, as after he got out of the vehicle, blasted him. You heard all the gunfire shots. There were multiple, and even after they killed LaVoy, they kept shooting at the car. They weren't defending their lives. They were terrorizing lives and killing a life in cold-blooded murder. When LaVoy came out, hands up, don't shoot. Isn't that what you all said? That's what he did. And they shot him. And after they shot him, he was reaching towards his wound. Something that time and time again, those that were there that witnessed it, were looking out of the car. You can see all this in the video itself. They watched it. They witnessed him getting murdered. And of course they made it. He was reaching for his gun, so we had to shoot him. How about just injuring him? Why didn't they just shoot him in the leg or shoot him in the arm if really what they were doing was trying to stop him or defend their lives? Why isn't that what they did? They shot to kill. Period. End of the story. I say LaVoy Finicum was a patriot who was defending liberty. He did not deserve to die. Gentlemen, your thoughts on this?
I agree.
Andrew?
I agree with you, too.
It just is disgusting life. So what I want to do now is I want to go through the history of what happened, how this all began, and it happened back in the Bundy Ranch so that people understand the truth, not the propaganda that the controlled mainstream media want you to believe, not the propaganda that district attorney wants you to believe. It's rubbish. Stay tuned. We're gonna play a song. And when we get back, we're going to talk about this.
American girls and American guys will always stand up and salute. We'll always recognize when we see old glory flying. There's a lot of men dead, so we can sleep in peace at night when we lay down our heads. My daddy served in the army, where he lost his right eye, but he flew a flag out in our yard. Till the day that he died, he wanted my mother, my brother, my sister, and me to grow up and live happy in the land of the free. Now this nation that I love is falling under attack. A mighty sucker punch came flying in from somewhere in the back. Soon as we could see clearly who I your world like the 4th of July. Hey, Uncle Sam put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be here when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, and it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. Oh, brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Justice will be served and the battle will rage. This big dog will fight when you rattle his cage. And you'll be sorry that you messed with the U.S. of A. 'Cause we'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be hell when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, and it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. All brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Of the red, white, and blue. Of my red, white, and blue.
That's right. The red, white, and blue, we're going to stand up and we're going to take some action here. So let's go back to the beginning of all of this. Where does the root start? Ongoing disputes with ranchers all across this country. I've heard reports from ranchers who said they finally got tired of dealing with the BLM, so they gave up. They said they'll admit they got battered and torn and decided to give up. Just gave up their land. Other ranchers were like, heck no, we're not going to stand down. This was our land. We bought it. We've been on this land since long before the BLM, and we're not going to let them bully us. So there's some ranchers, by the way, have been killed in the past. I know, for instance, in Arizona, maybe not exactly on this. It was after illegal aliens being on their property, but the rancher in Arizona had gone to the federal government and said, hey, on my ranch, they don't care. Country. There were reports out of Oklahoma, where Andrew's from, reports from Texas, reports from Florida. I mean, there are reports all over the country. This isn't just happening to the Hammonds and the Bundys. It's just that the Bundys said, you know what? We're not going to do what our friends have done. Our friends have given up. We're not. So the dispute really started back in 1993 with the Bundys, when the Bundys finally said, I've had enough. So what was happening was that the administrative government went to all the ranchers in the Nevada area and said, we know that these lands have been in your family for, over a century now, but we want the land now. So we've made a law that we didn't go to the people or vote on. We've just made it up. You now are going to have to pay us fees on your own land. And any land that we don't actually see, because, over a period of time, land started to become district. So even if a family had been on a ton of land for a long time, the government decided, no, you can only have a portion of this property. You're going to need to buy it. That's basically what started happening. You're going to pay us great fees for the house. And if you don't, there's going to be hell to pay. So this cover-up, though, because the government wanted that land. So they started bullying the ranchers. That's really the bottom line. So in 1993, finally the Bundys had enough, and in protest against changes to grazing rules. See, they changed the rules without coming to the ranchers or coming to the people and said, hey, without no representation, remember, no taxation without representation. This is what started happening, and the Bundys said, wait a minute, no. Now, according to the BLM, Bundy continued to graze his cattle on what they said were public lands without a permit. In 1998, Bundy was prohibited by the United States District Court of the District of Nevada from grazing his cattle on this area of land, which was called Bunkerville, because it had been the Bundy family for all these generations, like early 1800s, I say mid 1800s, but it had been their land.
Yeah, for like 100 years, 70 years or something, or 170. For some reason, those three numbers are popping into my head.
Yeah. So in July 2013, the BLM, they didn't like the fact that one rancher, because all the other rancher land, and Bundy didn't. So in July 2013, the BLM complained to the federal judge, Lloyd D. George, in order that Bundy refrain from trespassing on federally administrated land, which used to be the Bundy's family land. This is ridiculous. I've had people on the other side of politics say, well, they stole the land from the Indians. I'm part Native American Indian, all right? My family has reservation numbers in our history, so I can talk about this. A lot of the Indians left the land. Just so you know, they vacated it, and the Indians were not the first people there. There's always been people that have come to lands to take it over. It's just the way that it is. If you're going to leave your land, somebody else is going to come along, and they're going to graze upon it. But then in this particular case, the Bundys didn't leave that land. That's the difference. And you seem to be okay. You're not okay with the theft of land from the Indians, but you're okay with the theft of land by the government? I don't know logic. But this is what started it all. So on 27th, 2014.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, but you know, even outside of Nevada, like in Arizona, you know, you'd mentioned, you know, the tribal nations, like the BLM was bullying the Dan sisters and the Shoshones to get land from them, and also in Arizona, the Apaches were a lot of their sacred ground was basically stolen from them. And when you look behind the curtain, there's John McCain and the Rio Tinto mining company. So it's all about the minerals. You've got these dirty politicians selling land that belongs to us, not them, to foreign companies. I think Rio Tinto is from Australia, and Uranium One, where you know, and that speaks for itself. There's uranium on the land where the Bundys and the Hammonds live. They're a Russian company, and they have, you know, there was a great piece of all places in the New York Times about that, and Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation are tied into the Uranium One company. And then in, I think it's Texas, near near your neck of the woods, Andrew, you've got politicians selling land to Saudi Arabia. So I think it was sorghum or something. I forget which crop it was. So they can grow the product here and then ship it to Saudi Arabia, as opposed to just growing it there. And let's not forget, I mean, as far as we know, the land deals, they never took place. But Harry Reid's son was trying to sell land to the Chinese near the Bundys This was the cover story for a solar farm, but I believe that that was just a cover story and it never materialized, because the real reason is so they can set up mining for uranium to sell to the Russians, or the Russians are going to come in and mine it and take it back home with them.
Wow. See, there's always more to the story. They don't want you to know. Well, on March 27th, 2014,
yeah, well, I think
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was had a. I think you were that you were going to talk about the standoff down at the Bundy Ranch, right?
Yes, but this is where it started. Can you hear me?
Not really. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Go ahead and talk about it. Play another song, and I'll adjust my mic over here because this is really important that people hear it.
Yeah, let's play another song, because and before we do, anyone listening, that all this information is out there. All you've got to do is go look for it. It's right there. So let's listen to some Johnny Cash.
I walked through a county courthouse square. On a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your old courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "No, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your old flagpole is leaned a little bit, and that's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat." And I sat down. "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "I think it is." He said, "I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, we got a little hole in that flag there when Washington took it across the Delaware. And it got powder burned the night that Francis Scott Key sat watching it write and say, 'Can you see?' And it got a bad rip in New Orleans with Pakenham and Jackson tugging at its seams. And it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag, but she waved on, though. She got cut with a sword at Chancellorsville, and she got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg, and the south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. On Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low a time or two. She was in Korea, Vietnam. She went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved from our ships upon the briny foam, and now they've about quit waving back here at home. In her own good land here, she's been abused. She's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused. And the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. And she's getting threadbare and she's wearing thin, but she's in good shape for the shape she's in. 'Cause she's been through the fire before. And I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning. We take her down every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we fold her up right. On second thought, I do like to brag, 'cause I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag.
I just love Johnny Cash. Anyway, one of my absolute all-time favorites. But back to on March 27, 2014, 145,604 acres of federal land in the Clark County area temporarily closed for the capture, impound, and removal of trespass cattle. Whatever happened to animal rights? Where are the animal rights lovers? Randy, Andrew, do you know? Where are the animal rights lovers on this?
No, good question.
The BLM officials and law enforcement rangers began a roundup of livestock. There were rumors I had heard of them shooting livestock. Again, where's the environmentalists? You know, they're killing animals. Where's PETA?
They were killing animals. They were burning the land.
Yeah, exactly. Terrorizing them because they won't play their politics and give them the land that they so desire for their profits, as Randy started waking up. And this was the beautiful thing. This was beautiful to see Americans saying, well, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. I'm not buying into this anymore. And that group of people went on April 12th, some of them armed, and then they should have been. For people to say you're not, what, you want to go there and just be shot by the government?
Yeah, I hear people
and so they went armed. Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Because I hear people use the term of, look what Martin Luther King did, and he didn't use guns for his peaceful protest, so why do you need guns for a peaceful protest? But again, the people got to defend themselves. We're in a state where our government doesn't think about the people, and the people got to be able to defend themselves in some kind of way. This is a treasonous government that you're dealing with. It's something that needs to be it's something that people need to take arms with to defend themselves.
You're right, Martin Luther King, and I think that's why, frankly, I think he was murdered, because you're right. He even said you needed to protect yourself. I mean, what happened? The civil rights movement, you could arm yourself, but today this movement cannot. So this is where it all started. And since then, last month, on February 10th, Cliven Bundy, who was traveling to Portland, Oregon, was arrested by federal law enforcement. So for this, and in fact, there's been others arrested since then too. Apparently, there's no statute of limitations on this. Somebody who actually, from what I understand, he was a major Trump supporter in New Hampshire. He was also a Gerald DeLumis, who was a military veteran, by the way. They arrested him, and news about him was that he was arrested last week. This, again, General DeLumis, and he's accused of being a mid-level leader and organizer of a conspiracy to train and provide support to armed men and other followers of rancher Cliven Bundy.
Another guy got arrested in Oklahoma yesterday. I seen on the news as well.
Wow. And you know what's interesting? See, that they're sending a message. What they're sending a message is, oh, we were being terrorized by these nuts, these anti-government. That's what they're saying. Oh, they're anti-government. No. These individuals are pro a republic form of government for which we no longer have, as Randy alluded to a little while ago. These individuals were standing up to tyranny. And wasn't that what the Black Lives Matter movement was all about? Standing up to police state tyranny? Andrew, why isn't the Black Lives Movement, why are they not awake? I see that this is the same thing. It's just people with a different color skin or different political ideology. But why, Andrew? Do you have discussions with people? What are they saying?
Again, with the whole Black Lives Matter, there's a lot of, it's hate driven. A lot of their agendas is strictly hate driven. They're not so much after liberty compared to trying to go after the whites. They're trying to get some kind of white guilt formed. Their agenda is different from this patriot movement that we see. Again, and when you talk about why don't the environmental people or the people standing up in protection for the cattle and things like that, it's because they fear the government. And when people fear the government, that's when the tyranny starts happening. All tyranny needs for a foothold is for the people of good conscience to remain silent, and that's what we're seeing. The government wants the people to be feared, but the moment when the government starts seeing people rise up, that's when you see liberties happening. And it's something that people need to stand up for. They need to stand up against this tyranny. Otherwise, we're going to see the same reign with the reign of Hitler and things like that. We've seen over time what happens when the government becomes too powerful and the government controls the people, which is why they want to get rid of the guns and things like that. They want to be, if this is something that if the people don't stand up and join together now, our children ain't going to have any liberties. There's not going to be no such thing as a constitution.
You know what's really interesting, too, Andrew, is that George Soros, a white multi-billionaire, funds Black Lives Matter. We reported that on the show. And how many people who are part of that realize this, that the money is being funneled down from George Soros? And why would that be? Because you think that he's for the black plight? No, he's part of the New World Order. He's part of all of us being enslaved and depopulating. And they can't do it if they don't divide us. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. It's time. You've got to get the hate out of your heart.
Exactly.
You know, this isn't a... Yeah, go ahead.
These people don't realize that they talk about that how they want to stop the oppression, that blacks have been oppressed years over years over years, but they don't realize that they're being led like blind sheep, or they are being enslaved, and they are being oppressed. It's all because of their mindsets. They're being enslaved mentally, but they don't realize that. It's all part of the political agenda here. It's all part of what the media narrates. And the thing with the media is, again, we can't let the media control the narrative of the story. It's we the people that need to stand up and change that.
Oh, beautifully said. And that is why they hate black people who leave the plantation. The plantation of the Democrat Party, which founded the KKK. It's a fact. Go look it up. Planned Parenthood was begat from a white woman, Margaret Sanger, who wanted to rid the earth of black babies. Go look it up. Back to the history. So, Bundy family, when they saw what was happening in Oregon to yet other ranchers, the Hammonds, they decided to get involved. So here's the connection with the Bundys and the Hammonds. Because the ranchers all across this country are starting to look out for one another. And they're saying, well, wait a minute. This is what's really happening. They're trying to steal our land. We need to unite. So the Hammonds, and this is coming in, and you can, because you live in Oklahoma, you know a lot of ranchers there, Andrew. Burning property, burning fields is part of what ranchers do, and it's something to control. I mean, I'm not a rancher. I don't know. I was just reading it. I actually remember seeing it on Food Network. Bree Drummond, Pioneer Woman, her husband was burning the property, and I guess it's something that all ranchers do, and it's a method to do something. Do either one of you know?
I believe it's to help fertilize the land and promote new growth. The grass will grow back better after a fire, and it's basically cleansing the land.
Gotcha. So the Hammonds had owned their family, passed down through generations, had settled on this property in the 1870s. Again, before the BLM. So bullying again. And in 1908, President Theodore Roosevelt, in a political scheme, created an Indian reservation around Malheur County in the lakes in this Oregon area and declared it a preserve and breeding ground for native birds. Again, remember, government always uses an excuse. See, they'll kill your cattle because they don't really care about it, but they're going to create bureaucracy in order to control you. They'll use animals, in this case birds, to take away your land and control you and tax you when it benefits them.
Or
but
like
when it
Delta Smelts
yeah, go
in
ahead.
California.
Right. But when it doesn't benefit them, they'll kill your animals. They don't really care about your animals, people.
No, they don't care about any animals.
No.
Shalene, I got a message from Stacy Barbeau just now. She is at work. That's why she couldn't respond. And she wants to set something up where she can come on at another time.
Oh, fantastic. We would love, tell her we will be honored to have her on the show.
No, absolutely. I'll shoot her a message here in the next break.
So by the 1970s, nearly all the ranchers in the area had given in, all right? But the Hammonds did not, all right? So like the Bundys, that they did not. And the government, the federal government, approached the Hammonds many, many, many times to sell their land to them, and the Hammonds kept refusing. This is, again, how this whole dispute started. Because they refused to sell their land to the BLM, the federal government, the BLM started harassing the Hammonds. Going on here. So during the 1970s, the Fish and Wildlife Service, notice how they use these names. Oh, we care about fish and wildlife. In conjunction with the BLM, took a different approach since the ranchers wouldn't sell, and told the ranchers grazing was detrimental to wildlife and must be reduced. 32 out of 53 permits were revoked, and many ranchers were forced to leave their lands. Grazing fees were significantly increased, and refuge personnel took over the irrigation system, claiming it was their own. Theft! So by 1980s, the conflict started really brewing. Long story short, by the 1990s, the Hammonds were one of the very few ranchers who still owned their property. Now, this time, the federal government is outraged because they're not getting their way. They're not getting their profits. See, it all starts happening. So they went to Oregon State Circuit Court and challenged the Hammonds' right to use their water. I'm not kidding you. You can go look all this up. You can go look at the court case. Of course, sided with the federal government. You know that there was a lot of shaking of hands and money exchanging hands. That's what happened. Now, there was, I believe there was, they challenged that, and the Oregon State Court actually sided with the Hammonds that it was their water. The BLM starts getting angry. They found some other ways to harass them. And this is where when they're burning their land, like discussing, that's what happened here.
Exactly, yeah.
So then they called the federal government. The federal government called the local county sheriff and said, "You need to arrest the Hammonds and charge them with disturbing and interfering with federal business." This is where it started. It was a made-up charge. This was the Hammonds' land.
They accused them of arson when even the fire marshal of that county there even admitted that it was the BLM, the one who was burning the land. And then the whole double jeopardy charges where the judge decided, oh, you ain't served enough.
Well, this caused severe financial hardship for the Hammonds. And they ended up having to sell their ranch home in order to purchase another property that had enough grass to feed their cattle. Now, the owner of the Hammonds' original ranch passed away from a heart attack, and the Hammonds made a trade for to get their original ranch back. So in the early fall of 2001, Stephen Hammond, the son, called the fire department, informing them that he was going to be performing their routine prescribed burn on the ranch. Later the day, that's what he did, as Andrew just told you. And the fire went into the public land and burned 127 acres of grass. The Hammonds put the fire out themselves. There was no communication about the burn from the federal government to the Hammonds. Nobody cared. 5 years later, suddenly they cared. Came back and this is when they ended up getting 5 years, I think, prison term. Right? Is that correct, Andrew?
I believe that's correct.
It's just amazing to me all that has happened for land that the federal government didn't own and wanted to steal.
Shalene, this so-called Terrorism Act was passed back in the 90s during the Clinton years is what they were tried under. And, Clinton was the one that all the progressives thought was, the man can do no wrong, right? His administration was the one that passed this so-called anti-terrorism law before the war on terror started. And there was no malicious intent on the Hammonds. You light a fire out in the middle of nowhere, especially a big one, a backburn, it might get out of hand. I mean, it happens a lot. I mean, look at like California. Lightning can strike a tree, like 40 miles away from you, and the next thing you know, it's out of hand and it's in your backyard. That kind of shit happens. That kind of stuff happens, and they have no malicious intent. And like you said, it was all about revenge from something earlier, and they used double jeopardy, like Andrew said. They served the time. The judge said, "Okay, you're free to go," and then somebody got pissed off about that, and they didn't serve their term, so they got to go back.
It was the BLM. You're right, Randy.
Yeah.
They finished their sentence, and then the BLM.
The BLM. They weren't satisfied, I guess. It was all about revenge. It was real petty and crappy on the part of the BLM. Now, you mentioned. Go ahead, Andrew.
And also, the arrest warrants were issued 5 days before the statute of limitations date here recently. 5 days before.
Wow. Well, in the way of the government, nearly $250 million. And the Constitution says there's extenuous or extensive punishment. Well, what happened here? This is extensive, especially when the Hammonds didn't commit any crime. This is their land. The government was bullying them their land. So that is why the Bundys, LaVoy Finicum, and all the other patriots said, we're going to be there for you. So that is the true history of this case. Now, this came in yesterday. A federal judge in Arizona decided that the adult son of Cliven Bundy should remain in custody pending his transfer to Las Vegas to face conspiracy for other charges. It's just amazing to me. And apparently 19 people have been accused of leading in an armed standoff. Now it's up to 19 gentlemen in the case of the Bundy Ranch.
Yeah, what they're doing.
Just earlier today, she said they plan to keep on fighting. That this is government and they plan to. Thank you, Carol Bundy, to all the brave patriots who are doing.
Yeah, well, what they're doing now is they're going and getting all these people one by one. And I warned them, any of them that maybe were listening to the show, you better get to know your neighbors. You better stick tight with your family and your friends because they'll be coming. They weren't. They weren't going to pull another Waco out on Bundy Ranch. they were going to wait till all those people went home, figure out who they are, and then go get them when they're, by themselves, because that's the way they operate. They're like a gang, They when the odds are even, they're not going to fight, but they'll show up at your house, at 4:30 in the morning, 20 deep, armed to the teeth, and you're in your pajamas, asleep. That's how they work.
Well, Jeanette Finicum, LaVoy's wife, I conferenced, I guess, earlier today, and she insists it was a set-up assassination.
Well, yeah, totally.
This is exactly what she said. My husband was murdered intentionally, deliberately, and with malice. And she was surrounded by LaVoy's mother, his brother, and their daughter. She said that it was not a typical traffic stop. She said it was an ambush involving a roadblock on a blind curve along a lonely stretch of highway, a dead man's blockade, a kill stop, which is illegal. The FBI says he was reaching for a loaded gun. His wife, Jeanette, disagrees. This is what she said. He was walking with his hands in the air. Remember, hands up, don't shoot. A symbol of surrender. When he reached down to his left, he was reaching to the pain of having to get shot, which is exactly what I said. The FBI involved are now under investigation for not disclosing how many shots. Of course, you can hear that in the video. They fired at Finicum. Jeanette says their actions show an intent to kill, and she, her family, pursued a lawsuit. Jeanette also expressed outrage over what she calls the unlawful treatment of other people who were charged with conspiracy for their actions of defense on a wildlife refuge. So that is from LaVoy's wife, Jeanette. I feel for her, gentlemen. I can't even imagine what she is going through. But let's say this. LaVoy was a hero. And if you disagree with that, get out of here. If you don't, by this time in this show, you don't understand what is really truly happening. You're just a blind zombie Kool-Aid drinker. Just go away. And when the government comes after you, bye-bye.
Yeah, don't come to us for help, because it ain't happening. And if they are listening, the trolls on Twitter, they're still going at it, and they've become so predictable, on social media. When there's any mention of LaVoy Finicum, or the Oregon standoff, they come out of they're like cockroaches in the kitchen at night. They just come out of the woodwork all of a sudden, and it's like, I believe that they're of course, they're being paid. But, it's by whom? Is it Soros? Is it by the BLM, the FBI, the Clinton Foundation, Uranium One? Who's paying these people to monitor all of social media 24/7, 365, to come out anytime there is any mention of this situation? And they hijack the conversations. And basically quash any kind of intelligent discussion that may go on, to like common law, constitutional law, natural law, like the founding fathers intended. It's like these people, or they might even be bots. They're not even real people. Fake profiles or whatever, and it's. You're arguing with the computer program. It's just amazing how quickly they pounce every single time.
Well, I've been watching. Look what happened. Look what's happening with the Donald Trump campaign. I don't care who you're voting for. That's not the point. The point is, there would be no Donald Trump, the rise of Donald Trump in politics, if the people weren't fed up. And so the world order, who's trying to control all of this, trying to steal land, because remember, that's what communism and globalist communism is all about, the theft of your property, because the government wants to own, the people at the top want to own everything, including you. And so that's what the agenda is. And right now, people are rising up. They do not want people to know the truth of the Finicum and this whole property. They don't want to know, so they're trying to change the narrative because they see the truth getting out. They thought that they could hide it because before we all listened to the mainstream media, and now we're not.
Yeah, well,
Now
it's like in '86 or '87 when they passed that, supposed one-time amnesty for all the illegal aliens. There was no backlash because back then, back in 1986, what did you have? Besides your local news was CNN, and then, fast forward 20 years later when they tried to pull that crap, in 2006 or 7. With talk radio, they got their heads handed to them, and they couldn't get amnesty pushed through even. And then, we've got to have the fairness doctrine on talk radio. And now, fast forward 10 more years to the present time, we've got you've got media like us online, and now, we got to have net neutrality.
Right.
They can't keep up with the technology, and it's the same with you were talking about Snowden yesterday. He exposed all that. He did not give away troop movements or anything like that, and he was labeled a traitor. The only thing he was a traitor to was the global communist elites. That's who he betrayed. Right. He exposed what they were doing.
Exactly. We're going to go to a quick break here to listen to LaVoy Finicum's. This was his last known interview, like with the media. I think it was the Oregonian.
Yeah, it was the day before he got shot.
Yeah, this was right before he got shot. He knew because they were being terrorized. And then my friend Jordan Page, hello Jordan, who's part of the Liberty Movement, very talented musician. He wrote a song. Ballad of LaVoy Finicum. So here for these next few minutes, listen to LaVoy and then enjoy Jordan's song. Here we go.
Grassley gave out this statement when he canceled the meeting. I'm sure you saw it. He said,
no, I did. I heard something about safety or something.
Yeah, he said that he was concerned about people protesting in front of the senior center and blocking entrance into the building, and he was also worried about people having firearms. And so I'm wondering, I'm wondering what you think about that. Whether do you think he was referring to you guys?
Oh, I'm sure he was. But that would be too much energy for something that I think is of no value. I mean, he had set up. He was going to set up metal detectors, and it sounded like just an event that who would ever want to go to that. And so I think it died of its own accord. Nothing. We had no plans of doing anything. I mean, we're kind of focused on the job at hand, and so to my knowledge, there was nothing that we were going to do in regards to his meeting.
What do you think of the fact that it's gotten to a point where public meetings are being canceled?
Well, he canceled it. We should have as much dialogue and openness as possible. Have you felt the change in the tone and tenor of the feds out there? We certainly have. We used to could walk up to them and talk with the FBI agents in a friendly manner, unarmed and stuff, but the tenor has changed. They have become more hardened, and when they step out of their vehicles, now they're stepping out with their rifles, and they're not willing to engage in just friendly dialogue. And then I'm assuming that you're aware of all the extra vehicles that they're bringing in and the increase in manpower that they're ramping up. And we're saying, why the rattling of the saber? Why, when we're so far away from anybody out here in the middle of nowhere, why are you ramping it up? Why do you fly your planes over us nonstop? And why do you have your drones? Because they're droning this now. And they're actually flying their photographer planes. They're doing all the things. They're doing all the things that shows that they want to take some kinetic action against us. And we're saying, why be so unfriendly? Why be so threatening? Why are you threatening lethal force when we're so far away?
You really feel like they're ramping it up, that they're going to take some sort of, you said kinetic, like physical action?
All the behaviors is in the preparation of a campaign of some sort. And whether it's just a saber rattling to try to intimidate, or whether they actually mean it, we don't know. All we know is what we see.
What's up, everybody? This is Jordan Page. In light of the recent events in Oregon, I just wrote a song that I want to share with you. This is called The Ballad of LaVoy Finicum. Subtext, Cowboys Stand for Freedom.
He was a man who loved to walk the land, turn his cheek but also take a stand. When his conviction called, he followed what he felt was right. Well, there's no telling just what time will bring. You can live for nothing or for everything, but when the pushes come to shove, and tell me, will you find? I'm only talking about a cowboy stand for freedom. I'm just talking about a name carved in a stone, a friend and brother to anyone. He's riding off into the setting sun to drive on cowboy. He's heading home. Well, there's almost right and then there's nearly wrong as you live your life from sunrise to dawn, and then it's over and the moment's gone. You can testify to things unseen, but the world is blind, can't see a thing. All you can do is try to be a human being. I'm only talking about a cowboy stand for freedom. I'm just talking about a name carved in a stone, a friend and brother to anyone. He's riding off in the setting sun to drive on cowboy. He's heading home. I know not what course other men may take. I can't see that far down the road. But as for me and mine, make no mistake, the weight of justice is a heavy load, and I'm living by code. He left his home to go and take a stand as voice rang out across the deafened land, and in the end it was a bullet that exposed the lines. The truth remains Well, Godspeed, cowboy, will carry on.
You know, I like the lyric that my friend Jordan, that's Jordan Page, very well-known Liberty patriot musician, great guy. And, you know, he makes a point in his lyric there that this guy's a human being. And it doesn't matter what your political belief system is. If you think that it's great and fantastic that he was murdered, not only are you personally not human, you have no heart. It doesn't matter. The guy was murdered. And for that alone, as a human being with a heart, this should matter. You should start paying attention. Now, we have our own cowboy here, Andrew Duncombe, who's been nicknamed the Black Rebel, has been on with us as our guest host. I'd like to have you on a lot more, Andrew. I think you should be a contributor to the show more. You know, any final thoughts, anything you want to add to what we've discussed here in the past, you know, little over an hour and a half?
Again, yeah, I'd love to, anytime you guys want me on the show, just hit me up, and I love being on the show. I love you too, you and Randy, and love what
Same
you guys
here.
stand for and your beliefs. But
we love you too.
Again, this is one of the situations where the people need to learn to stand up, and we have to stand together and stand up against these tyrannies. Otherwise, it's going to be something that's going to happen over and over and over again, and slowly you're going to see each of our freedoms just dwelling away. It's this oppression. If we don't stop it now, it's going to be something that we're never going to be able to stop. And again, that's what all those. And I know a lot of people are complaining that the Patriots let them all down, leaving Oregon. And again, what people got to understand that courage is one thing, but everyone can't die on the hill. Otherwise, there'd be no one left to fight. So there has to be strategy, and there has to be you have to use your brains in these matters, and there's a time when you have to surrender, and there's a time when you have to give it your all. But it's one of those things that everyone has to find for themselves, is how far they're willing to go. And it's and again, the main reason for this whole fight, Jefferson Davis, a quote from the Confederate president back in the Civil War, said, "I love this Union and I love the Constitution, but I'd rather leave the Union. With the Constitution than remaining in Union without it." But it's something that this war has been going on and on forever, and it's something that only we the people can fix. It's the elected officials. It's not even about who to elect anymore. It's not about Republican. It's not about Democrat. It's not about political party. It's we got to elect people who are for the people, who are for the Constitution, those who are constitutionalists, those who are going to abide by the Constitution by 100%, those who are going to not give in, not be on someone's payroll, not going to give in to the pressures, and not be a crooked politician. And that's why so many people are reaching out to Trump. They want something new. They're tired of this same political system that we had since before the Revolutionary War. It's a constant act it's a constant something we see happening over and over and over again in history, and is when are we going to put a stop to it? And
I agree with you 1,000%. And the founding fathers said, and Samuel Adams in particularly, the brush fires, had to be stroked from time to time. Thomas Paine, the blood of tyrants from time to time, in order to preserve liberty. And Benjamin Franklin had he said, if we hang separately, we're basically what he was alluding to is we're going to die, we're going to perish.
Yeah, we either hang together or we hang separately, and that's the concept they're using right now, going after all those people that were at the Bundy Ranch. They're going and picking them off, separately. Now, one thing that hasn't been brought up, and it's something that people need to understand. All of these politicians now, they're all bar attorneys, and we were warned a long time ago that when not to have bar attorneys holding public office, because the bar is a foreign entity with its allegiance and origins of and by the British Crown, and that's what we've got now. It's like the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. In some ways, it's not over because of all these bar attorneys who are now politicians and writing so-called laws that circumvent the Constitution and common natural laws, and that point needs to be pounded into everyone's skulls that listen, what's happening now is not what the founders intended, and we've allowed it to happen, and the bar has controlled the narrative, and all three branches, as well as this fourth administrative branch that popped up like a mushroom overnight in the backyard. That's what the problem is. And again, common law grand juries, all it takes is one person in every county to establish a common law grand jury to where these public servants, and they are not officials, they are servants. They work for us. It's not the other way around. They can and should be held accountable for their actions when they violate their oath of office and they violate the Constitution. People don't understand that, and like you said earlier, Shalene, too many people trust and believe in the government and they look at us as all a bunch of nut jobs and fringe cases when all we're trying to do is tell them the truth. And they don't want to believe it. It's like that red pill, blue pill thing with the Matrix. A lot of people are dependent on the system, and they will fight to the death to, preserve that system because, it shatters all illusions of reality and what people think are reality, when in fact that's not the reality that the Founding Fathers had in mind when this country was established. And there's nowhere to go. This is it. This is the last bastion of liberty on this planet. Where are you going to go when it's gone here? And like Andrew said, we have to fight now because once this country falls, once it's under, you ain't got nowhere else to go. Maybe Antarctica or the North Pole. Well, eventually they're going to come there. It ain't like you can get in your car and drive to another planet,
Exactly. It's all about the money, and it's like so much blood has been spilled fighting for our freedoms just for them to come back to a government who does not uphold the Constitution, those oaths that all the veterans and those who've died inside of our military took to uphold and defend the Constitution. They're defending it under the government who does not care about the Constitution. All they care about is their own pockets. How much money can they get out of it? Their own political gains, and it's sickening. It's sad.
I totally agree with you, gentlemen. And we want to thank you. No, we didn't take calls today. We didn't want to do that. We went commercial free today. We'll be back to our regular format tomorrow. And I want to thank everybody that's listening now. A couple of things that have been emailed to me of people listening. Thank you very much. They wanted me to point out that Finicum's earlier autopsy report, which was distributed, proves Finicum, LaVoy Finicum, was shot in the back and not just once, as they're trying to say now. I don't even know how they can try to say that. You can hear all the shots in that audio, but all three times. So again, early reports that LaVoy was shot three times, that they hit him three times. Obviously, you hear more shots. They're firing at the car. They're firing at the child, teenager, whatever term you want to use, the underage individual that was in the vehicle along with the women and the other. There was one or two. You can't really tell by the video. Men that were in the car, but they kept shooting.
There's
okay.
two, Sharp and Cox. I want which.
Gotcha. Also, somebody wanted us to mention Ruby Ridge. They say it's a good time to remember. During the siege at Ruby Ridge, which was in Idaho, August 22nd, 1992, I was just, getting out of the indoctrination university at that point. But the FBI shot and killed Randy Weaver's dog, then shot in the back and killed their 14-year-old son, Sammy.
Yeah, didn't they kill his wife, too?
This is what was emailed to me. They shot Randy Weaver, then murdered Randy's unarmed wife, Vicky, as she held their 10-month-old baby in her arms. I mean, that's just disgusting. The federal government declared itself a sovereign nation and has been warring on the Constitution of the United States ever since. This is another comment that was received. So I want to thank you for the comments and the reminders of what has happened before. Again, the narrative that's out there, that's what they want you to believe. And we are trying to wake you up, and we're not going to be able to wake up everybody. Some people will always believe the lie. They'll be led to sheep to the slaughterhouse, and they'll do so very willingly. There's nothing we can do about them.
Well, a great man once said, those that get it, no explanation is needed. Those that don't, none will do.
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
Was from Jerry the King Lawler.
Wow. Well, we want to thank on our show, we mean this so sincerely, from the Wake Up Mission show, Andrew, Randy, and I. We just want to thank you and the Finicum family. LaVoy's death is not going to be forgotten, and his murder has started a revolution, and like any revolution, it might start out quietly, may not have the masses yet, but that number will grow.
Yeah.
We clearly see, even with the current Trump campaign, you can clearly see that people are waking up, and as people start getting the truth and looking at the LaVoy family, and seeing the faith of the family, the values of the family, they will start seeing these people were not anti-government criminals, with bad hearts. These were individuals that loved America and wanted to preserve the Constitution and protecting and defending other people from tyranny. This is what really would happen. So we want to thank the Finicum family. We want to thank the Bundy family. We want to thank all the patriots who courageously stood on the Bundy Ranch, who courageously, stood in Oregon. We want to thank you all.
Yeah, and don't forget, these people that have been kidnapped and are being held hostage. Like Skylar Barbeau. And hopefully we can set up a time to have, I think that's his mom or his sister, I'm not sure which, on with us. And hopefully, she'll be able to, shed some light on what's going on with him right now. Now, I know that Mike's school has been trying to help them. So hopefully, we'll get a good resolution with that, too. Because, Skylar, Barbeau family, if you are listening, you're not alone. It happened to me, and here 10 years later, I can live. I can live to tell about it. Hey, I got arrested for weapons when it wasn't cool to get arrested for weapons.
Yeah, very true. You were a political prisoner, and now we have 19 political prisoners now. Andrew, thank you so much for being on the show today and contributing, because your words today really mattered, and really, I hope everybody benefited from listening to you, and we definitely want you on the show more and more and more.
Yeah, and say hi to Arlene for us.
Yeah, she's such a lovely woman.
I don't know if she's listening or not, but I'm sure she'll hear the podcast afterwards, if not. Again, and thank you guys for having me again. Really appreciate it.
Anytime,
again,
bro.
This is a serious matter, and it's something that people need to hear. People need the truth.
Right.
Yeah. Amen. Well, we're going to end the show with a tribute to LaVoy and all the patriots who stand up. Joe D. Messina, Heaven Was Needing a Hero. We'll be back tomorrow. This has been the Wake Up Mission Show.
came by today to see you. Oh, I had to let you know. If I knew the last time that I held you was the last time, I'd have held you and never let go. Oh, it's kept me awake nights wondering. I lie in the dark just asking why. I've always been told you won't be called home until it's your time. I guess heaven was needing a hero, somebody just like you, brave enough to stand up for what you believe and follow it through. When I try to make it make sense in my mind, the only conclusion I come to is that heaven was needing a hero like I remember the last time I saw you. Oh, you held your head up proud. I laughed inside when I saw how you were standing out in the crowd. You're such a part of who I am. Now that part will just be void. No matter how much I need you now, heaven needed you more. 'Cause heaven was needing a hero, somebody just like you, brave enough to stand up